everyone. Welcome to GT Time. I'm your moderator, Kyle Bossman, and joining us as always is our uniquely talented and knowledgeable panel, including Brandon Jones.
What's up?
Daniel Bloodworth.
We're back.
And Michael Damiani.
Hiya.
Hiya. Wow.
So,
I really like it. That's a great catchphrase. We're back. We had last week off. What? Hey, man, what's up?
Go.
Okay, we're going. He's right. We have 45 minutes this week. We can't do like a full hour. We got to cut it a little short.
Because Kyle doesn't know how to book a conference room.
We've booked this, but then for the editorial reports, if anyone, blame Brandon for this.
Oh.
You say it needs to be quicker, and then you explain why it's
Okay,
longer?
all right. So, we're back from Comic-Con.
Yes.
Brandon Damiani, how'd you do at Comic-Con?
Did pretty good. Saw a lot of games. Had a really good time.
Did you buy a lot of things?
I had to buy something to get into the Tetsuya Nomura autograph session.
That's hilarious.
I bought the cheapest Kingdom Hearts figure that they had that was eligible. And I still have it boxed, so I'm just going to probably resell it to get the money back.
They made you buy something to get a signature?
Yeah, that's what they do now with these things.
Man.
And bought some chorus stuff.
Great.
Couldn't you just buy a ticket or something?
No, they didn't sell it.
I was totally ready to buy a Pabu on the last day, and they were sold out. I was like, of course.
Now they're going for a lot on
until
eBay, but
Sunday to buy Pabus.
What is a
You can get them
Pabu?
online. Pabu's the fire ferret that's in the Legend
Oh,
of
yeah,
Korra.
Damiani got one. It's really cool.
Little Bolin's buddy.
Yeah.
Adorable.
Pabu.
I spent a ton of money on the last day. I made it through the whole thing being like, oh, whatever, that's really nice. But I mean, where am I going to put that, you know?
Yeah.
And the last day, I just, so much art. I couldn't help it. The one thing I didn't buy was this one guy does these amazing Japanese caricatures of popular things. He did like Metroid and Naruto and Batman. And you really have to look at it for a second to realize like, oh, it's Pokemon. I get it, you know, but it looks like a
I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Piece of Japanese artwork. And I almost bought all of them. I mean, they're all really great. There's a great Mario one that's like a guy in a cart with mushrooms bouncing around.
Yeah, I've seen a Star Fox one that was really cool.
Yeah, the Star Fox one's really great. And they're all very cleverly, the Link one is amazing. It's a guy blowing an ocarina and the horses in the background. And yeah, they're all pretty fantastic.
So you just bought all of them?
No, I didn't. That was the one I
I
resisted.
got you.
Because again, it was like, I'm not buying one. I'm going to buy all 10.
Right.
Just put them up around the office somewhere. But thankfully, dodged that bullet.
I liked how much you were tweeting during Comic-Con. You really
Yeah,
picked
I tried
up.
I tried. Well, yeah, I'm kind of addicted to Twitter now. I think
Cool.
it happened. I think I officially got bit by the Twitter bug. Where I remember going to PAX one year with Jeremy Hoffman, and we were at dinner, and I was just like, dude, put the phone down for 5 seconds. And like my wife and I never talked at any meal. We were always just like, what's happening? You know,
Yeah.
I don't want to miss anything. What's happening? What are the big, you know, because every time you're doing something, you're not doing 50 other things at Comic-Con, so it can be kind of stressful.
Well, she was definitely tweeting a lot. I think I saw her tweets more than yours.
I just went, well, fine. But just as so many amazing things to take pictures of, so many things that went by too fast. I was like, that was, you know, got video of like, like 8 Spartan warriors walking by me at once from Halo. Just like, yes. I can't wait till next year. I can't believe it took me so long to get there. Last year was my first one. So
That was your first Comic-Con.
already looking forward to the next one, just like E3.
Well, last year was his first one.
Yeah.
Oh, last year was your first. This was your
number
second.
2. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Very fun. Very hot, but very fun.
Yeah. I'll try to come next year. So will Bloodworth. We'll try to make it.
Probably won't. But
Just don't go on vacation again, Kyle.
Let's start talking about news.
News.
Let's get down to it. Big news this week. EA came out of nowhere and announced this thing called EA Access. I want to fully explain what this thing is before we start talking about it. Here's what this thing is. It's a subscription service. It's only available on Xbox One. It's $5 a month or $30 for the whole year. What you get is all you can play access to Battlefield 4, Peggle 2, FIFA 14, and Madden NFL 25, which is last year's Madden. You get 10% discounts on all digital Xbox One content from EA. Early access, which is a limited trial on big releases up to 5 days prior to the official debut of EA games upcoming. And then one tiny note, Titanfall is excluded from all EA Access features. So that's what that is. That's what EA Access is. Is anyone impressed by this?
Impressed?
Yeah,
No,
are you impressed?
I wouldn't say impressed. I think it'd be interesting to me to see when the new Madden comes out, how long it takes for that to be included. Because I think that's kind of where it makes the most sense as a consumer is like, well, if you're the guy who buys Madden every year, get the subscription instead. But if they wait 6 or 8 months for that to become available, then it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I feel like this is something we talked about for a long time, is just having a subscription to Madden. right? And then just every year that comes out, I think it will be a long time before they're willing to give you Madden for free for this $5 a month. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It'll probably be like this point next year. Like new Madden's about to come out, we'll give you last year's for free, or $5 anyway.
Yeah, which then becomes a completely useless proposition. As we all know, you go into a game store and like there's just tons of sports games sitting there that people have discarded.
Right, those are the cheapest ones, and those are ones that give you the least amount of money for in return. Right. Weird that they popped up with this. So you're not impressed, but is anyone surprised by this?
No, I'm not surprised. I kind of want stuff like this. I think you should not only be able to invest in Madden, you should be able to invest in EA. If you wanted to do that, which again is like, invest in EA, but it's like, what if EA was Nintendo? What if Nintendo had like, it was like, you can basically invest in Nintendo, and then whatever we do, you'll be involved, and you'll get discounts and everything, and you're basically like, it's like all the services that I pay money to, I don't like bounce between them. Like whenever I've invested in something like Netflix, it's just, there's always been something awesome to watch there, and so, I don't know. Again, I'm not impressed because of the way they kind of set everything up. There's only like a couple of games involved. So yeah, it's not something that's like a complete buy-in. But I mean, you look at what Sony's doing with Gaikai, it's the same kind of thing. It's just like not really considering my relationship to you being something that's like this sporadic thing where like I spend $100 one month and nothing the next month. It's something that they can count on. It's something that I don't really have to think about anymore because I know that content's always going to be there. Like PlayStation Plus, getting all these free games, getting access to all this stuff.
Oh crap! You said free. Someone's gonna take you to task in the comments.
It's free's got to be. I gotta say.
Yeah, it's never
gotta be free.
Yeah. Always
Got to be free to say
subscription-based.
free.
No, I'm glad you made that dumb analogy because the honest truth is, if Nintendo offered the exact same thing, that 10% discount, that early access, and old games, I would do it. I'm the idiot who would say yes, and so there are definitely probably some EA fans who are just like, yes, yeah, that's a great deal.
Or you pointed out perfectly, as someone who's like into those sports games, it'd be nice if you could just do an EA Sports one, where it's just like,
Right. Yeah.
You're officially like, I'm doing, if you guys have the lock on all of these licenses, then I want to see what you're
because they
doing
didn't
every
say
year.
anything about NHL or any of the other games. Yeah, it's weird that it's just FIFA and Madden.
Right, yeah, it is a small selection of backlog games. They have said that once it's in your backlog, they'll never take it away. So they'll just keep adding to that with those games that you get, which is pretty cool. But again, it's like, what does 2 years Madden mean to you?
Which again,
what is,
you
like 3
asked,
years ago
are
for
you
Madden?
impressed? It's like, I think the impressive part of this is yet to be seen. As far as like, how far are they going to take this? How much stuff are you going to get?
I guess I'm impressed by the strategy. Damiani, do you think this can work? Do you think we'll see it continue on throughout the year and even to next year and beyond?
With the EA?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they'll keep it up for, I don't know, a few years at least. I mean, I think as long as they're still offering everything else, like you still buy a game physically, you can still buy it digitally. This is just another way to get in on their games. I don't see how it could be anything but okay for people. I guess just people are a little bit hesitant whenever they hear like subscription and you get like access. It's like, well, once you stop subscribing, yes, you get to keep that in your backlog as long as you're paying to subscribe. But
Right.
once you
Yeah,
stop paying to subscribe, you don't have that anymore. And it's like, what if I subscribed for like 2 or 3 years? I paid like $90 and all I was playing was like 2 games. Like, man, I could have like gotten those 2 games if I just like bought them. I mean, that's on you for not figuring that out.
No,
but,
you're right. It does stop
But at the
paying
same
for
time, like,
itself.
there's just that, there's just that reluctancy for some people to want to adopt a subscription model for the way they play games. However, especially when it's just for one company, like for like EA. Now, I don't want to like do the segue into what we're gonna talk
Go
about.
ahead.
Well,
next.
actually, no.
yeah.
There's one more thing I think that's interesting about this.
Okay.
Is this whole like early access thing and the fact that they have a monthly option. Like, how many people are they going to get into this because you get to play Dragon Age 5 days early. If you just give us another $5, hey, come on.
Well, that's why they just make it a
yeah.
preview. That's why like they will limit your time with early access because of that. They're totally scared of that, I think, of people abusing it. And you kind of still can. Hey, I get well, basically you're paying for a demo at that point, aren't you?
You are.
Yeah.
Kyle
saw
just
through
realized
But
this.
yeah.
Yeah, Bloodworth saw right through it. You're absolutely paying for a demo. Oh no. Maybe it's longer than a demo. You're playing. It's got to be longer than a demo.
I hope you at least keep your save file for when you
maybe
actually
keep
get the game.
Yeah. But Damiani did the transition for us because Sony has responded to this. You notice we said this is only for Xbox One. It's not like a deal that only Xbox One locked down. Sony went out of their way, basically. They could have said no comment, but in a Game Informer interview, they said they don't want it. They said, hey, we have a ton of PSN Plus subscribers, and this quote I liked. We don't think asking an additional $5 a month for this EA-specific program represents good value to the PlayStation gamer. The interesting word there is additional, right? They're aware that there are a ton of people already paying them a monthly or yearly fee for PlayStation Plus. And basically, do you think it's defensive? Do you think that they don't want to compete? Or do you think they just they genuinely don't think that that's a good idea and they don't want to allow EA to do that on their system?
I think they've been really smart about their business so far. I mean, in this gen, and I like the way that they centered it on the gamer. That they're like, it's not something that we think is a bad choice for us. It's like we don't see that person who we imagine that person to be being interested in that. And again, it's not. There's two different attitudes to have. Like, you can just be upset having to spend money on anything. Like in this day and age, you don't technically have to. There's so much gaming you can do completely for free as long as you have like a monitor and a computer or a phone.
Right.
So it's one thing to get upset because I have to spend money, but like Sony's really taking the approach where they're like, okay, that's the era that we live in. That if we're going to compete with Microsoft and we're both going to exist, we're both going to have these services that you can pay us and we'll give you premium content. The question is not so much that like, oh, you're spending this. It's what are you getting? Like what's the value? And I think on that front, Sony's demonstrated that they understand that much more than Microsoft has as far as like how much stuff they've given away for free.
Do you think though
So I think that's in line with everything they've done so far. Was basically the point I'm making.
Do you think though if like EA made it a better value? Do you think if they threw in more games and said you can play early access forever for $2 a month, do you think PlayStation would then say, yeah, that's a good value, we'll allow this now? Or do you think that's really a policy thing?
Yeah, they're probably just waiting. Well, I think EA's waiting too. They're like, let's just start it with 4 games. Let's not include Titanfall.
Right.
And then when I brought up EA Sports, I was thinking like, what if they did like some sporting event that you could only go to if you were a member? You could meet all the cover athletes from all
EA Access. It makes sense.
EA things.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they have all that. But they're like, if this just blows up and is huge, then we'll be glad we didn't do all that extra stuff. But if it's not that big, then like, well, we have these other options. Yeah, maybe Sony's just playing the waiting game.
Yeah, Blood. Why do you think that Sony's in a position to say no to this, where Microsoft was in a position to say yes?
Oh well, I'm not sure in terms of their differences. I think Sony is definitely. They're prepping PlayStation now. That's been in beta for a while, so they've already have another tiered paid service that they're planning to introduce. And I think that they would rather have people on board with PlayStation Plus and PlayStation Now than them going off and doing their own rogue thing, so to speak. And I think that's part of it. It's like, well, if people are getting this stuff from EA anyways, then it makes it harder for them to get stuff. Yeah, it makes it harder for them to get EA content on those services because EA is trying to hold it off and make their thing more exciting.
Yeah.
So it just is weird. It's like they're competing against each other, even though Sony's a platform holder.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they always do, right? They put out games against other games. And I think just here it's much more direct. It's much more our subscription and your subscription, and people won't want to do both.
Yeah, because eventually, how many subscriptions are you going to get up to?
Yeah, I'll tell you a secret. I subscribe to both Netflix and Hulu. And like during the summer, I never use Hulu, but I just pay that every month because it's like automatic.
Yeah, and HBO and Showtime and all that.
Exactly.
But
we're suckers for subscriptions, I think, and I think that might be the way. I think more people see EA's doing this. We have to do this. Ubisoft will have this next year. Do you know what I mean? Ubisoft will definitely have a subscription next year. You can subscribe to whatever they do.
But it's such a easy and direct way. Like we communicate with, the GT audience through various things, through our Facebook, through Twitter, through comments and all that stuff. And like that is such an easy, specific, there's no gray area as far as like we are paying you to produce this, this much money for this much content for every month.
Right.
And if we enjoy it, and we'll stay with it. And it's that simple. So it's like you have to want that as a creator, that has to be the best way. And unfortunately, like we, people in that position have to think of other ways, but it is the most direct way to do it, to have that consumer, producer relationship. Of like, you make stuff, I like it, Yeah, like it's so much that I want to pay you, like you're almost like you're my employee. You know, it's like keep doing that, keep making that. You know, that's my vote. I don't own stock in your company. I own this. You
Yeah,
know?
no, it's right. It's not only just I like what you have now. It's faith in that you will give me this in the future.
Yeah, the free version would be subscribing to you on YouTube or Twitch. You know, just like
Yeah.
yes, okay, I'm a member.
That's exactly what that is.
So, are you a member of Nintendo, Kyle? Are you a Nintendo member?
No, there's definitely Nintendo games I say no thank you to.
But what's kind of weird is like they haven't really gotten into it too much, except for maybe the Mario Kart thing. But Nintendo is trying to, get to a place where they're doing those sort of loyalty rewards without any kind of subscription. Where it's like,
Oh,
well,
yeah.
if you're buying games, then we're going to start giving you discounts on other games. So that's kind of a different
They've done it
strategy,
a little bit.
yeah.
They absolutely have done that a little bit with NES Remix. I think it was the second one was cheaper if you already own the first one or something like that. They do stuff like that. They absolutely do. Or if you owned, oh, it was weird. It was like a mode. If you owned NES Remix 1, you could do a special mode in NES Remix 2, which is absurd. Don't do that. But also, if you bought NES Remix 2, you could buy Super Mario Bros. 3 for like $1 or something like that. I can't remember.
Huh.
They're trying.
Yeah.
They do have weird plans. Everyone's got weird plans to like get us into their systems, become fans, favorite them, as Brandon says.
Isn't
Follow
that what
them.
we do on the show? Is pretend we know what the heck those weird plans are?
Sure. Well,
What the heck
no,
is Microsoft doing? Oh, I don't know.
I think on the show we get scared of plans more than anything. Just like, oh, I hope it's not this. I hope the EA plan is good. I hope it works out. Right now, I think it looks better than it will like 2 months from now. Like all those games are still kind of new, like Peggle 2, I guess. But like that'll be way old in 3 months once the fall is here.
You never know.
You do know it's gonna be way old.
Oh, I know it's gonna be old, but you never know if it's gonna perform or not.
Oh, right. And then how much they'll add to it and how
Yeah.
much they will care to make this thing work if it's only on Xbox One and all of those things. If it'll ever come to PS4. I think if it's a huge success on Xbox One, it'll have to come to PS4. I don't know how long Sony can say, it's not a good value.
Well, depends on how much money they actually would get off of it. I mean, maybe that could be part of the deal, is that Sony wanted more money from those profits, and they're like, oh, no, we're not going to give you more money then. Bye.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's about who's boss, right? Is EA boss or is Sony boss? Does EA have the power to look how good our subscription rates are? You need us. Or is it Sony like, look how many consoles we've sold? You need us.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
the kind
which
of
one
stuff.
is it? Which one is it between those two?
I mean, honestly, I mean, you guys hit it like right on the head there. Like it's a little bit of flexing the muscle there. Like who's more important than who?
Right.
Honestly, though, I think in the end of the day, I mean, it might not be this year, it might not even be next year, but just looking at every other subscription model, you were saying like how many people have multiple subscriptions. I'm gonna wager that over the years it has dwindled as they become more centralized. And typically, the one who has the biggest like range of content is the one that wins. And I'm gonna have a feeling that PlayStation Now is gonna have a wider breadth of content.
Yeah.
And people are just gonna be like, man, like unless EA is really pumping out a lot of value and a lot of good games into their subscription, people will be like, this isn't worth it. I just want my PlayStation Now, or if Microsoft does one way, I just want my Microsoft like subscription. I don't care. Like HBO gets away with it because they have must-see shows. Like you've
Yeah,
got to see
absolutely.
Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
EA,
It's like HBO makes
yeah.
better TV shows than EA makes video games.
Yeah, like
Right.
EA is not. I don't think they're offering like these are like as you said, like in a few months.
It has a really
Yeah.
clear voice as far as
Yeah.
like when I go to HBO, it's
Yeah.
like, oh wow, when I heard about like Leftovers, it was just like, oh, it sounds like a neat idea, but like, wow, HBO picked that up. I wonder.
Okay, yeah.
And yeah, that's funny. That
Well, yeah, and you look at that selection, it's like, oh, you can get Peggle or Madden. It's like, where's the clear voice in that?
Right.
yeah.
Sure.
It feels like this is just like EA testing the waters to see how many people they get to actually subscribe to it, and then maybe build upon it. But I have a feeling that Sony's put way too much money into PlayStation Now that they're just going to kind of like steamroll that
Sure.
over this generation. Be like, nope. I wouldn't be surprised by the end of the generation. Like EA is like, all right, we're gonna come be part of PlayStation Now. Here's our catalog of games.
They're
Enjoy.
so ashamed. You make me so ashamed.
the muscles weren't big enough.
Yeah, maybe their muscles aren't big enough. A really cool story this week. Cool for weird reasons. The Homefront IP was acquired by Deep Silver from Crytek. Basically, why that's cool is because there were, Kotaku reports for a while that like that team, the poor Homefront the Revolution team, had basically been leaving for a long time. And so to me, this game that looked very cool at E3 finding a new home and a new development team with a new owner is a good thing, especially Deep Silver, who picked up Saints Row. It's like, hell, thank you for saving Saints Row. Thank you for saving this. Did anyone see Homefront at E3?
I didn't personally know.
I just saw the demo, the whole thing with the
How cool is that
remote
demo?
control under the car. Yeah,
Yeah.
that blew a bit. Yeah, that was neat. It was definitely a focus on detail. The environments look really vibrant. It's always great, like playing a first-person shooter, and you're outside and all these amazing things, explosions and tanks and troops, and lots of misdirection and eye candy. And then you go indoors and there's like a ton of detail too, and the storytelling like written on the walls. I think that was actually kind of one of the unfortunate things about the first Homefront was that it's like a damn good premise for a game, a shooter, that kind of like resistance, one man against this huge army.
Yeah. What
So-
if they came to our homes?
Right.
Yeah.
It was like there was some Call of Duty level that was in you're running down the street and jumping through houses and stuff, and like seeing a tank.
Oh, with Honey Badger.
Yeah, seeing a tank
yeah.
just driving down a street is kind of disturbing, and so that was really exciting, and there were parts of that demo that just looked absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, I didn't realize this. Crytek UK was made mostly of Free Radical people who did Time Splitters.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
thing. That's what we were talking about before when we were talking about these Crytek stories. That like they had bought all these studios, and now it's like they're just kind of bleeding out slowly.
Yeah.
And so to me, this news is, it's kind of gross because it shows that they haven't been able to keep up with these investments. Where you're like, oh great, they saved this team, and then like no, like it's just prolonged death.
Dark Bloodworth today.
No, that's how I feel, kind of how it's going, and it's unclear whether, how many of these guys that were already working on the game are going to get, whether they're going to get jobs in this new team or studio or whatever.
Yeah, it is unclear. They haven't made any announcements about who the new team is. They've said where it is. Nottingham, actually, was where the new studio will be based, but they haven't said who's on that new team. So like let's assume the best. Like maybe it will be all those old people from Free Radical, and they'll have another new name. Didn't they work on GoldenEye? Isn't that like
that's the
whole
lineage? Yeah,
Yeah,
like it went
lineage,
from people that worked on GoldenEye and Perfect Dark, and then they kind of branched off and they did Time Splitters, and then Haze, which kind of
threw them off track. Yeah, I want them to make this Homefront game and have it be a success. I think that would be great. And basically, my feeling was that like Crytek, after saying we're only making free-to-play games for the future, maybe that game wasn't best there anyway. You know what I mean? Maybe they needed to get rid of Homefront.
But then that leads into the next story, right?
I love that everyone's doing transitions for me this week.
But I mean, these things go together.
Yeah, exactly. So our next story is that Hunt, the free-to-play third-person shooter game, has switched teams. The U.S. team that was making that game in Austin has been disbanded, and it's moving to Frankfurt of Germany. Really funny quote from their announcement. Employees who are not set to be part of the CryEngine support team will be invited to apply for new positions at Crytek in Germany. So basically, the U.S. team is only engine now. They're only working on the engine and supporting the engine, and that whole team that was working on Hunt is
that
gone.
Made Darksiders too.
Or hey, like if you want to apply for one of our Germany jobs, go ahead.
Yeah.
Is the deal there. Wow. So, Blood, you said this leads into that. Do you think Crytek's just having huge issues?
They're clearly having huge issues.
Right.
Yeah, and again, like they went around, trying to save these talented teams or whatever, but they didn't have the capital to support that, and now it's, things are just sort of falling apart, and they're trying to, salvage what they can to keep from going under.
They just need a game out, basically.
Basically. Yeah.
Right. It's like it's a sticky situation.
Because I don't know how Crysis 3 did, but I'm guessing it didn't perform as well as the first two.
Right, and I think Rise may have been a little money sink. I'm not positive. None of us know, obviously.
Well, that was in development for so long, I'm sure it was. It probably
Yeah.
didn't recoup the investment. Because originally it's going to be a Kinect game for the 360.
Yeah. Do you remember that trailer?
Mm-hmm.
And I just said, no, don't make that game.
And those TV commercials were very highly produced. I remember.
But that was probably a
Rise.
Microsoft thing. The
I know, but
marketing, yeah.
still, I mean, them, at the launch, being like, "Come on, Rise, come on." Like,
Yeah.
sell some more. I tell you, every time I saw it was like actually gripping, I was like, "Whoa!" For 15 seconds there, I was really into that game. What just happened? It's like, oh right, it's that weird gladiator game that I don't feel like playing.
That's so funny. When does that end, actually? When did Rise become a game that you didn't want to play? What kept it?
What kept it?
Yeah.
What, and not?
What holds you back? Yeah.
I was never really into, It
Yeah.
was one of those things that was just a cinema for a really long time, really confusing cinema.
Yeah.
It was one of those things where, like, this will never, ever, ever work for me, hopefully, as long as I live. But, like, that person, like, walking into the living room being like, let's do this video game.
Yeah.
And you're like, where do you live? What? There's no walls? What's going on? It's like, I'm supposed to identify you, but you're clearly on a set somewhere. I'm like, okay. Then, like, turn the game on, and it's like, holy cow, I'm a Roman. And like, no. Like, you got a long ways to go. Something like Dance Central is forgiven because it's like, yeah, fireworks and green screens, I get it.
Yeah.
That's kind of what the game is. That's kind of the vibe of the game. But to have like a serious action adventure with Kinect, but no. It has to be game centric. If you're taking me out of the game, then you don't care enough about the game.
Yeah.
To not just sell the game on its own merits. But
It's weird. I felt like Crytek had their stuff together 2 years ago. It's like, oh, here's a company that's really got it going on. And like, this is such a weird situation they're in 2 years later.
Mike, thoughts?
Who cries for Crytek?
Yeah, I never really cared for Crytek's stuff, honestly.
Never liked Crysis.
The only thing I think maybe we said this before, but like when Crysis came out, it was just like all the cool videos they did with the engine. I was like, oh yeah, this is cool. I'm gonna see like a bunch of like tanks falling out of like the air into like the ground and see how many they can handle before they like computer crashes. And then the joke like you'll need a PC 5 years from now that can actually run like Crysis at max settings. That was all I ever like really like cared about was hearing.
Yeah.
But I mean, when the reports started coming out, it was like where there's smoke, there's usually a fire. So I had a feeling that there was like something up, and then now everything that's happened is kind of. Yeah, I just hope they just don't completely go under because there are some people who do care about the stuff they do. So we don't need to lose like another game company at this point.
Exactly. And I hope like Deep Silver just keeps making cool choices like this. That's a good pickup.
I hate to bring this up, but wasn't there like rumors that like Deep Silver might have been in trouble as well?
What?
Someone was saying like
I didn't see it. So
there was someone saying like sorry, I hate to bring up NeoGAF as the source.
It's not a great source, not a solid source.
No, but someone dug something up that suggested that like Deep Silver might have been in trouble, but they immediately just said that's not true at all.
Then why would you bring it up today on the show?
Because this is what happened with Crytek. They said the
You're
same
saying
thing.
where there's smoke.
Oh, there's nothing. So if more things stop popping up, I'd be a little worried. But one thing's nothing to worry about. It's going to be some baseless crap. But yeah, going with what Daniel said, like studios trying to save other studios by picking up stuff, but not having an actual plan or the actual finances to do something with it.
Right.
This is just IPs though at this point, so Deep Silver I think is being a little bit smarter about that, but
yeah.
At some point you can't save everyone.
It's not just IP; they are intending to finish Homefront: The
Yeah,
Revolution. So
and I mean, how well did the previous Homefront sell?
it did okay. This one's a way cooler game.
Yeah, I'll give it that much. It looks more interesting than the first one does. Yeah. So I just don't see it being like a giant blockbuster. So I hope they budgeted accordingly for that.
So let's talk quarterly sales. Let's talk hardware sales, because at this point, all three of our favorite console manufacturers have announced some quarterly sales. I'll skip to the chase here. Sony has shipped 3.5 million. They group them together, PS4s and PS3s in the last quarter.
Is that worldwide or US?
That's worldwide.
Okay.
Microsoft has shipped 1.1 million Xbox Ones and 360s. They also grouped theirs together. Nintendo sold 0.5 million Wii U's, and then, if it's worth mentioning, 0.8 million 3DS's. So what we're seeing there is just a pummeling, a routing by Sony, just crushing it right now. I think I talked to a sports writer once who was just like, my hardest job is like coming up with new verbs for winning. And I think routing is one they use a bunch.
And that was a good thing about Screen Cheat. They had a lot of good ones.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, you were Justin Biebered by Kyle Bossman.
Yeah. Sony Justin Biebered the competition just then by like more than doubling. What do we extract from this?
Sony has momentum, basically. I mean, that's largely like what this is all about, I mean, we used finally getting some momentum with Mario Kart, but we're just maybe seeing the beginning of that to be be hard to see like whether that sustains through all of this E3 and Comic-Con stuff that they've been doing. But their Comic-Con stream is doing really well. I don't know how large it got up to, but I know one time I looked at it was like 30,000 people watching.
Oh yeah, they had another Smash
Yeah,
tournament.
a Smash Brothers tournament, yeah.
And it did pretty well.
It was doing great.
Dang,
yeah.
I wish I watched that. I missed that whole thing. That's funny. But that's Bloodworth. That stream can't be related to these huge, shipped numbers worldwide.
Well, I mean,
Do you know
that's
what
what I'm saying about momentum.
Right.
It's, people are excited about Smash Brothers, and if they can keep people excited, then people are going to start, buying Wii U's when that game comes out, just like they've been buying Wii U's for Mario Kart.
Yeah.
So, and that quarter's including like whatever 2 months or whatever before Mario Kart came out as well, I'm guessing.
Right.
So it's only the beginning of that pickup.
Yeah, Mario Kart sells forever.
Yeah.
That's like a weird evergreen game that sells forever. And it's already sold to basically half of the people who own a Wii U, which is insane. That's a really crazy attach rate for one single game.
Yeah, I mean, it has a good attach rate, but didn't the reports say that like it's not moving enough, like as much Wii U's as Nintendo had hoped.
Yeah.
Like it like the people who already own the system are buying these games.
Exactly.
But it's not pushing hard enough to get other people to new adopters.
Right.
And
Smash might be the same thing, where not a lot of new consoles are bought,
Yeah,
but
but, like,
everyone who has a Wii U will buy Smash. Yeah.
But
exactly.
here's the thing, like what else besides Smash should be huge for them that like in the near future that's going to get people to buy that system? And while they have some
They
momentum,
delayed Captain Toad.
yeah, while they have some momentum with Mario Kart 8,
Yeah.
what the heck is coming out next? Hyrule Warriors? Like I'm excited for that, but like that franchise has never done well in the West. It's huge in Japan. It's going to probably do something to move the needle in Japan. I don't think that's going to do much that's not going to do much for the Wii U come September when that comes out here. And Bayonetta, as great as that game probably is going to be, is also not going to move that many systems. It's basically nothing till Smash in terms of like we got to get the system for like a large amount of people. But the same thing, the problem is like Sony, they've had like their few releases as well. Like I feel like all three the hardware players don't have like huge games coming out like as frequently as they had been in the past.
Right.
But yet Sony's doing so well.
That's why.
And Nintendo's like, we have our best games coming out, like Mario Kart 8, we have Smash, but I don't know if that's like enough. Like, it kind of sucks, doesn't it? And then Microsoft's in the middle. Like, what do they have coming out as well that's gonna like drive people to buy it? Like Titanfall, they tried with that.
Master Chief Collection.
It feels like the answer is like
Right.
2015. Wait till next year is like the theme. It's like
Right.
we've got some stuff coming out this year, but just hold on till next year, everyone.
This kind of information to me means that individual games aren't that important. Do you know what I mean? I think they're super important
Right.
for Nintendo's consoles because that's all Nintendo's consoles have are Nintendo's games, basically. I guess like Monster Hunter, right? Like, that's why individual games, when we discuss Wii U, is super important. To me, it's like when we're talking about PlayStation 4, it's like Watch Dogs was a PS4 game. Do you know? And so it's like that helped that console sell. And it's just like, it's weird how important third parties have been this first year. And how I feel like individual games aren't a huge part of why this is an important thing and why this crazy domination.
Well, yeah, I mean,
happens.
it's just this weird, whatever psychology that goes behind buzz. It's like the hot thing is the PS4, for whatever reason. Like, it doesn't even have to have a reason. It's just the hot thing. So, yeah. So because that momentum built up at the beginning with the early adopters and everything leading up to launch, and it's kind of continued that way.
Yeah, how long can you be a hot thing?
I don't know. We got a couple of years.
Yeah.
It's like an election, like 4 years maybe. What's the term?
Sure, 4 years is,
that they
I think, a
have
legit term.
on because there's some article somebody wrote that I've been thinking about continually, the whole process of like switching into this new generation. And that's when someone, I think the old gen was 05, and they pointed out that 07, 08 was when it like happened. This is when it was finally like, oh boy, okay, yeah, it's fun to own these consoles now.
Sure.
So I think it's like 2.5 years, left until like it finally happens, until we can finally be excited about the consoles that we own now. So yeah, just gotta be patient, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I feel like I think it'll be less than that almost because the PS4 has sold so much in its first year, basically. It creates that pressure of like, hey, look at Watch Dogs sales, look at how much the majority was on 8th gen consoles. We all agreed we're saying 8th gen and 7th gen on this show. I'm I'm sorry? They said, like, look at how much it sells on 8th gen. Just make games for this console. Stop being Borderlands the pre-sequel and trying to justify. Oh, I'm still upset about that. Still riled
the
up.
game itself?
Also,
Yeah.
announced just today,
Wow.
F1 2014 is only on last gen consoles.
Why?
They're taking time to make a new game that will come out in some nebulous time next year for.
That answer I love. I'm okay with that answer. Hey, we're just spending time on the next one. I guess that's fine. Ugh. All right.
But it was sort of unclear to me. It was like, is this going to come out in the beginning, in the off season for F1? And it's kind of strange. Or is it going to just be, next year's game?
What is an F1? Sorry, Blood, this is incredibly ignorant. I just assume you could play F1 any time of the year and be happy. Is there a season? There's like a...
Well, yeah, I mean, just like most sports, there's a season that they go through. I forget exactly when they start, but I want to say it's like March to November, something like that.
Is it an honor to be on the cover?
I'm sure it is, yeah. But they kind of changed their covers up a little bit based on region. For
Oh,
what
cool.
teams that are more popular in which region.
FIFA actually does that too. Switches their cover up depending on which country you're in. Who is on the cover of our region?
Oh, I didn't see the cover for 2014.
So it's not a big deal. It's not that prestigious. Blood's an F1 fan, we should state.
It's the only sport I follow, and I only really follow it because I got into it from the games. So. But I am like 2 races behind, so.
So are you disappointed that it will be on 7th gen consoles?
Yeah, a bit. Well, it's also coming out late this year. Like usually it's coming out like October 21st now, and usually it comes out in September or August.
After the season started. The season's already started. I
Yeah,
don't
the
care about
season's
this
like
anymore.
super far along already.
Yeah,
you know?
that's
So
fine.
it's one thing. I think part of it too is there's a lot of weird things that have happened in F1 this year, and so they're trying to catch up with that and portray that accurately. And
Hold on, really? What are the weird things that
they're like
happen?
hybrid cars now, and they like sound different and everything. Yeah,
Oh, that would actually change development a lot.
yeah.
That's very interesting. Are they hybrid cars just for the environmental sake, or are they actually
Basically,
faster?
yeah, they're trying to be more responsible or whatever, even though they're still burning through dozens of tires every race. But
What do you mean dozens of tires? Oh, because you have to go to take your pit stop.
Can we just cut this part out and put it in a separate
I like this part.
video?
I like a little F1 chat. What does Mario Andretti have to say about this?
I don't know, but I think he may have weighed in at some point. Somebody's interviewed him about it. There's a lot of people that are just mad that the engines don't sound as good. So
Well, the engine has a feeling to it, that
Right.
sound.
yeah, I mean, when I went to the first race in Austin, it was so loud that like when you had earplugs in, you felt like you needed to put earplugs in. So
And everybody misses that. They go in like, hey, I can hear too well. I can hear too good. Turn it up. Okay, that's the end of F1 chat. I forgot to do a little corrections moment. Corrections and clarifications. We got one this week. Start that music now. You know how last episode we talked about Evo? And I kind of assumed that I wrongly assumed that they were like satisfied with the amount of views they had, and like they were like just we don't need to work any harder than this. Not the case. Someone on Twitter named Martin Blake, who like works on their production, let me know that like basically they're short-staffed. They have a really small team doing everything they can. His quote was, "Eventually we'll get there for Evo, but it's not because we're satisfied and don't feel the need to do more. We want to do more." And so I was thinking about it for a long time over these 2 weeks about how like I'm glad Evo hasn't sold out completely. Do you know what I mean? Like, what if it was just like, now we're eating McDonald's, and it's just like, it would ruin a lot of what Evo is. So I'm glad Evo's going at Evo's own pace, basically.
They already had the ads this time for Mountain Dew or whatever.
Oh, Baja Blast.
Yeah, Baja Blast.
And that's all the chat could talk about.
I don't know. Chat kind of likes that type of stuff.
because
It makes
you
for
can- yeah.
it makes for some funny moments.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
as long as they're not like eating or drinking this stuff during between the matches,
Right.
that's probably fine.
Yeah.
And it's sports, man. That's why sports has these
Yeah,
giant
they all have their
stadiums.
shirts
It's
with their
like,
sponsors.
Going to
Yeah.
commercial break. Brought to you by
Right.
Budweiser.
Yeah.
See you in 3 minutes.
I say, yeah, Evo, go at your own pace. Don't go.
No, I say sell out as fast as you can.
Evo, don't sell out.
Evo, what are you
Yeah,
waiting for?
there's no one to sell out to.
Yeah.
Capcom's got no money.
Yeah. Capcom's putting it all into Drake and Lil Wayne concerts. So end corrections music. Let's talk about bets. Bet this week. On August 4th, Nintendo is having a Hyrule Warriors Nintendo Direct. At the end of this Nintendo Direct, how many characters will we know by name will be playable in this game?
How many are playable now?
That's a great question. I have no idea.
Oh man, that makes it hard.
How many are playable
I sent
now?
you all the same email. You could have looked it up.
This is inside information.
Yeah. You keep your inside information.
Actually, no, because if you paid attention to what the trailer was today, it actually said the number. It said
But-
character number, trailer number.
I said so. That's why I said by name. It's how many characters will we know by name
yeah,
at
but
the end of that
they
thing.
say character number,
Okay.
specific number, then they say the character's name.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so like today was Sheik.
Okay.
So it had a number before character, trailer, number,
Yeah.
Oh
Sheik.
man.
Yeah. That's not inside info.
I know, that's why I was
But he's
being
not gonna share it.
sarcastic
Okay,
about
all right. So, Brandon, this week you can choose whether you want to go first or last.
But wait, how do we? No, I gotta know how many characters.
You
are
had
in it.
time. You had all day to look that up.
I didn't. The days go by fast,
Come
man.
on.
You'd be
No way.
surprised. Okay, I'm gonna lose the friggin' bet anyway. So let's do this.
You should go last then. Last will give
fine,
you
I'll
the
go
best
last.
chance.
I'll go last,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'll go first. I honestly don't know how many characters have been released. And I think at the end of this Nintendo Direct, we will know 14 characters by name in this game, playable. Damiani.
All right. So usually they make the bosses. They usually have alternate paths in these types of games where you see the other side. So there are going to be 4 villains already, and then obviously Ganon's going to be in it. So this will help you guys out because I'm going to troll Kyle now.
Yeah, you definitely
Because
are.
today was character trailer number 13.
Oh,
so
no.
plus 1 is 14. So if I add 5 to that, that would be at least 18 that will be playable, but will they be known? So
Yeah.
I'm going to say by the end of this one, there will probably be, I'm going to go 17.
Okay. Daniel Bloodworth.
Wow.
And just to be clear, these are
Super-
officially leaks. Do not count. How
super
many
tight.
did Nintendo officially announce? Oh, Blood, you're putting a ton of thought into this.
I'm trying to think if I want to go low or high, but yeah, I guess I'll go high. I'll go 20.
Okay.
Oof. I'll go low. I'll go 16.
16. Wow, those are tight. That's a tight bet. Bets are locked in. Okay. And then that's what we got for this. I think that happens on like Monday, August 4th. I'm not even.
Yep, at night.
Okay. Cool. So I look forward to watching that. I'm going to watch that whole dumb thing. Last week's bet, we bet how many characters we'd see in-game in Tekken 7 at Comic-Con. Damiani, you were like, I know the answer to this. I have an email. And so I figured the way you talked about it.
In-game,
Yeah. I thought you were like, oh, I'm going to play the game at Comic-Con. I have this meeting set up. I'm going to play all these different characters. Zero. Oh.
That was the email. I could say it now. The email was there'll be like no actual gameplay up there. That was pretty much it. But then,
But wait, what did you bet?
He bet 51
Yeah,
just as a joke.
yeah.
Oh,
it's a
because
joke.
he didn't want to spoil it. Yeah.
But then, as I was in case this didn't get picked up originally, the people were like they asked the audience or online or something, do you want it to be tag style or do you want it to be this one-on-one?
Which is a fundamental
which indicates
decision.
that they probably haven't even started real development on the game. It's just a CG trailer at this point.
Oh, you could have started working on characters, but yeah,
Yeah.
probably a long way to go.
Oh my gosh. So of course Bloodworth wins. His bet was 6, which is our closest number to 0. Blood, that brings your tally up to 8. Damiani is closest with 5. I have 4, and Brandon Jones still with that golden 1.
It's the best day of the year.
So Blood, that's up to you to close us out and plug one video.
Yeah, well, I guess, I'll plug this weird little video. We played a game on the stream the other day called Screen Cheat. It's kind of based on old 4-player split screen games like GoldenEye or whatever, where you would always get mad at your friends for, looking at your screen. Only in this game, you have to look at your screen. So we streamed that, we put up the highlights. So check those out. We had a lot of yelling, so turn your headphones down a little bit. And have a great week. Here are all our Twitter handles. Feel free to leave some comments. Let us know what you think. Tell us what we got wrong, and we'll play more corrections music, which we haven't stopped yet, apparently.
I stopped it.
You stopped it?
Yeah.
Okay, I forgot. Anyways, have a great week. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys. I love the Xbox.